been a really long time since I chatted with my next guest. Of course, I'm kidding. He was supposed to fight last weekend, and now he's fighting next weekend. Trey Ogden back here on the program. Trey, how are you, man?
What's up, man? Doing good, living the dream.
Yeah, good to see you get a fight rebooked here. It's always a bummer when a fight gets canceled. Take me through what happened last week with your opponent being out and you getting this fight from start to finish. What happened?
Yeah, I had a big weight cut. I do my whole weight cut in the morning. I don't cut the night before at all because I don't do well. I've had some blood pressure issues in the middle of the night when I'm like halfway through the weight cut. So I've found that for myself, it's just better for my body if I just wake up and do it early, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, and do it all. So you got to check in for weigh-ins at 10:45. For the people that don't know, for UFC weigh-ins, so 10:45 in the morning. So I get up at 4 a.m. and I do one big push. So that's the plan. I rented an Airbnb that had a hot tub that was 10 to 15 minutes away from the UFC hotel, which is where weigh-ins are. I read all the reviews. There was one review that said the hot tub wasn't functioning. Beware. So it was like 3 months ago. So I contacted the people. I explained to them my situation. I'm in town with the UFC. The only reason I want the place is because of the hot tub. Is it functioning? I saw that it might not be functioning. I need to make sure that it is functioning. So they emailed me back. Yes, it's functioning. It's on a weekly maintenance routine. So I'm like, check. So I also asked, just in case, is there a bathtub in the house? Yes, there's a bathtub in the house. So I'm like, perfect. So I just thought it'd be a more comfortable place for me and my guys to cut weight away from everybody else, because if you do it at the hotel, you're surrounded by everybody. It's like
Yeah, it's
really
not good.
crowded.
It's not good. Airbnb is a veteran
Yeah.
move. Julian Marquez, who did the same thing for his last fight, I know, and it's looked like a
Yeah.
way better thing to stay at than the hotel, right?
Yeah, for sure. So it would have been had it worked out, but it didn't work out at all. So they're like, yes, there's a small bathtub in the house. They failed to mention that there's not a faucet for the bathtub, just a
What?
shower head, and that the shower head itself doesn't function like basically at all, like at all. You're not feeling this bad. So like we get there. So I get into town on Tuesday. I have the Airbnb for Thursday through Saturday. So I contact the people. Hey, will the hot tub be ready? Can we get an early check-in on Thursday? She said the maintenance guy's coming on Thursday. All is good. All is good. So I get there on Thursday and I open the lid to this hot tub and it's full of algae, like full.
Ah,
And I mean, the smell hits you and I'm like, there is no way we're cutting in this tomorrow morning. I mean, it's impossible. But I'm like, it's also like at 90 degrees. So I'm like, which is not hot. You need to be, your body temperature is 99. So a hot tub ranges from 101 to 103. Like that's the range of a hot tub. 100 at the lightest, but you'll sweat at 100, but you will not sweat at 90 something degrees. So I put my hand in the water. I'm like, fuck. I turn it up all the way to the heat. I come back in an hour to see, because what I was looking for is what's the rate of speed that this hot tub heats up at, because this guy's going to get here and he's going to drain this thing, refill it, and then they're going to heat, like, will it
yeah.
heat up by the morning?
Yeah.
It hadn't moved at all. So the maintenance guy shows up and he owns a maintenance company. Like this, they routine this. So he informs me that the heat pump on this thing hasn't been working for months. So I'm like, they just straight lied to me. So I'm like, okay, we'll pivot. So let's go look at the bathtub. So it's a big bathtub, bigger than normal. So I'm like, this might not be so bad. But we realize there's no faucet. We turn the shower head on and it's like trickling. And that one won't get hot. The master shower gets hot, but this one won't. So I'm like, okay, I've done this trick before where you boil water
And then
and
put it in.
so
Yeah, man, you're
yes,
like MacGyver, by the way. I wouldn't have even thought of all this stuff.
bro.
That's crazy. Just
I've been
mentioning
around
that.
forever, bro.
Yeah,
I've
I know.
done
I
this
know.
forever. So
Yeah.
so I'm like, no problem. We'll use the boil water trick. You boys get up earlier than me and get the tub ready. So I then Ubered all the way back to the UFC to get one of those tent saunas. They'll give you a little tent sauna. You
Yeah.
can't cut the whole thing in a tent sauna, but it's nice to have something.
Yeah.
So I take a bunch of towels from the hotel. I take everything to do this cut in this bathtub. So I wake up at like 4:15. I'm 10.5 pounds over. I get in the tent sauna and I start sweating while they're filling up. They're just making runs from the kitchen up with boiling water, right? And
Right.
I remember thinking like, they've been doing this for a while. Like that tub is not that big, but I was like, must just be like a trick to my eyes because I'm seeing little pots of water going there. But in my mind, I was like, this fucking thing should be full. So I I'm in the tent sauna, then I'm in the towels sweating. So I do like an hour of sweating, and I get out of the towels, and I'm like, all right, let's go to the tub. And I go in the tub, and it's got like this much water in it. It doesn't hold water. and I
Oh, I was
did
going to
not
say,
check
that was
that the
my
night
first guess.
before.
There's probably a leak there or something.
Yeah, there is. So it had a drain plug. I took the drain and flipped it upside down that's on the thing so that the water level could be higher. I just did not. I assumed, which was my mistake, that it would hold water. It doesn't hold water. I get back in the tent sauna because I'm like, we're obviously going somewhere else. This is not going to work. And we're going to lose time now in travel. So I was like, I need to sweat now and then recover in the Uber to wherever we're going. So there's an LA Fitness like 10 minutes from weigh-ins. So I'm like, call the LA Fitness, make sure the hot tub's functioning, make sure the sauna is functioning, and we'll go there in 30 minutes. They're like, it's functioning, it's all working. Cool. So we show up at this LA Fitness. I got 4 guys with me from out of town. We don't want a membership. I got to do all this, like, it takes me 15 minutes to get past the front desk. I get past the front desk. I walk to the hot tub. I put my foot in that hot tub, and dude, it is not. It's cold. I'm like,
Oh,
oh
no.
my God, the hot tub. Like, they lied to me too. So now I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to do, like, we've lost so much time, we can't go anywhere else, and I'm not even sure if I can make it in the time limit now. So I go into the, I'm walking back into the sauna, and one of my corners, Stephen Graham, was at the front desk asking if, where are the towels, because we couldn't find them. So he comes back to inform me they don't have towels and they don't have towels for sale. And we brought no towels because I've never been in a LA Fitness that
That
doesn't
doesn't have
have
a
a towel
towel.
service.
Yeah, I've
If they
worked
have
in
a
gyms
pool
for
and a
years. They
hot
always
tub and
have
sauna.
towels. Yeah.
They have showers and everything, no towels. So I realize in this moment in my mind that I'm going to sit in a sauna because I can't lay in the sauna because I
Yeah.
don't have a towel. So I can't, it's too hot like on you. So I'm going to sit cross-legged for 3 hours because it's about 6:45, something like that. And I'm like, I'm going to sweat until 10 a.m. and it is what it is. So something happened in my brain where, like, I've never experienced anything like this. Like, my brain just did not send me a single complaint signal. It didn't feel bad for itself. It didn't even tell me I was suffering. It just realized that I was going to sit in that sauna in the cross-legged position continuously until 10 a.m. And it
Yeah.
just got behind me. And all of a sudden I started like getting like endorphins like crazy. It was like a very strange, somewhat spiritual experience, but it was something, man. Like, I opened this corner of my mind of just like elite endurance. I could have sat in that sauna until I died, like, and with a good attitude. I just sat there for 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And when I got out to check my weight, once I was like 57.5. We went back, did another like hour and a half. I came out, I was like 56.5 or something, like I was like half a pound off. And so I just immediately just was like, no problem. Like, and we thought I was on, but whatever. I just went back. At this point, I was so in some weird endorphin state that, like, I was almost sad that it was over. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
so I just went right back in. I did 3 more pushes in the sauna. So it took about an hour. We get out and now we know for sure I'm probably at 55 flat, which I was 55.2 at that point. As soon as I get out, it's about 9:58. It's like almost 10 a.m. I get a call from Jason House, my manager, and he's like, "Hey," and like, I'm like, they're worried about me. They know I cut it all in the morning. It's getting close to time. They know I have a big cut. I barely made it with the Zaluber fight. They're just worried, checking it. So I answer. I'm like, "Dude, I'm on. I just need to dry off and come there." And he responds, "Torres is in the hospital." And
Oh,
I'm just
man.
like, what the like, I told him, like, I just responded with, bro, if you knew what I just did this morning, like, if you
Yeah.
knew what I just overcame, to like hear that Torres is in the hospital was just like, my second question was, do I get the show money if I show up and weigh in? He said, you do, you need to come right now. So I'm like, I'm getting this crazy endorphin drop of this crazy morning. The fact that we did it, the fact that we made weight. I'm trying to process this like mental experience I had because it was very, very interesting to me. I was like, this is something that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. Like, I changed my brain. Like, my brain opened a different neurological pathway than I've ever experienced. And it's still there. Like, I still feel it. Like, even now when I'm training and I get like tired, it's like there's nothing stressful about it to me. Like, my brain is just in complete alignment
Okay.
for like, you're going to do what you're going to do. And I'm with you now. Like, I'm going to make your body chemicals be whatever needs to support the mission. So I'm trying to process all that and then also process that I'm not fighting tomorrow because that was a 0% chance in my mind. And I just went through the emotions of a fight week, which when you're at home and you fight on Saturday, that shit starts on like Friday. When you go to the UFC on Tuesday, I mean Tuesday through Sunday with the UFC, it's a big energy week. I mean, like I just went through all that and I'm not fighting. And I'm just like, that is so I get to weigh-ins. I get on the scale 155.5 because I took a swig of water. As soon as I knew I was at 155.2, I just took a swig of salt water. And so I get on 155.5 and I get off the scale. And now I'm like, now it's like hitting me that like I'm about to have water, which when you're at weight is like all you really care about at that point is water. So I'm just, and I don't have to fight. So I don't have a lot of stress on me. So I'm like, I'm just happy to get to rehydrate and like eat a bunch of food today. I get off the scale. I go sit in my chair. I have a bottle of water in my hand. And within minutes, Sean Shelby and Jason House are like, hey, when you get a chance, check your phone and look at the matchup we sent you for 2 weeks and let us know. And I'm just like, this has been a hell of a 40 minutes, guys. Like, I was like, I'm going to drink some water and just eat food today. Today's going to be about recovery no matter what. Like, I'll text you first thing in the morning. Like, I can't even like have a conversation. Like, I can't. I'm at 55.5 right now, guys. Like, and I just went through it. So yeah. So then I just went and fed me and my team. They supported the shit out of me in that weight cut. I wouldn't have made it without them. They worked their butts off. They sat in the sauna the whole time with me. I had Gomi rubbing my kidneys, you know, like he like they sacrificed hard with me. So I was like, we're just gonna like we're gonna go like eat today. So we ate a meal every 2 hours until I was 180 pounds again. And then I woke up at like 4 a.m. the next morning, Saturday morning. Looked at my text, looked at the opponent. I mapped out his whole game. I have my entire fight camp written, my 1 week fight camp written out, my whole tactical strategies in every dimension, watched all of his fights, and text him at 7 a.m. I'm in.
Wow. What a week for you, man. That's crazy. Like,
it was crazy.
So, I hope you gave him a bad review. That I mean, the moral of this whole thing is you got to give them a bad review.
Yeah,
Fitness.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, that's crazy,
yeah,
man.
It's
wow.
crazy.
Okay. So you've had like a fight camp in itself outside the cage dealing with all this, right? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild, man. And to then come home without fighting was super weird. And then to come and be like, you know, in my mind, I thought I was coming home this week to like downshift a little bit from fight camp, but instead I'm coming right back to dieting. I just cut weight. I'm coming right back to the diet, and I'm coming right back to a really hard week with a pretty different opponent. And then I'm flying right back out on Tuesday to Miami to go do it all again. So, but I'm riding the wave, and I'm grateful that they rebooked me, and we'll get it done.
And this is at 160, right? If I'm not mistaken, so you don't have to cut those extra 5 pounds.
Yep. And they told me that right away, that it would be at 160, because if they told me 155 afterward, I was like, guys, I'm not doing that again in 2 weeks. Like, it's just too much, you know?
No, it's
but
tough.
160, like, for people that have never cut weight that are listening, like 160 is 75% of the weight cut in pounds, but it's only 50% of the weight cut in hours sweating. So to go from like 160 to 155.5 is about 2.5 hours of sweating. So it's a whole different kind of week. You know, it's like, this will be fun actually, because I'm going to the beach for a UFC fight week, and I'm not gonna have to spend my fight weeks are like just consumed with like basically not eating and really stressing a hard weight cut. And this time it'll be like a lot more like focused on the fighting and the martial arts itself, which is what I actually live for.
Yeah,
right. Because it's not
good.
160 is no problem.
So what do you know about your opponent stylistically? How do you look at this fight?
He's a very good kickboxer. He's 6'3". I was gonna fight a guy that was 5'10", not sophisticated at all, and very dangerous and like early, like a very powerful guy, Manuel Torres. You know, high danger factor, low skill. Now I'm fighting guys 5 inches taller than Manuel, and his skill is he is a much more sophisticated fighter. He's a switch stance fighter, so I haven't trained to fight a southpaw for a whole camp, but so he's going to spend about 50% of his time in southpaw, 50% of his time orthodox. He has a much bigger striking vocabulary. He's much better at setting his shots up. He's much less obvious. He's very, very, very skillful. His dad was a kickboxer. He's been kickboxing competitively since he was 14, so 11 years competing. However, he carries much less repercussions than his shots. He is knocking people out through volume and fatigue, and he's knocking out fatigued, undisciplined, wobbly fighters. He's hitting guys 80 to 100 times to knock them out. So in that regard, while he's a much more skillful opponent, I actually think he's a much less dangerous opponent, which gives me a lot more opportunities to get to his hips. So I feel like I'm going to push the takedowns hard, and I don't think he'll be able to stop him. And even if he stops one or two of them, he's not knocking anyone out in one shot. So I'm just going to go grab him, snatch him, throw him on the ground, and run elbows right through his face.
There you go. You got it all mapped out. Are you going to have the same people go with you for fight week? Are they doing it another week here, or do you have anyone different? That's awesome.
Yep. No, we're gonna just rinse and repeat. You know, and that was the other thing when they offered me the fight. I was like, guys, I'm logistically gonna have to see if this is even doable. Like, I need to check with my wife. I have a 3-month-old baby. Like, that's first and foremost. I was like, maybe we could do this in Kansas City the next weekend. And
yeah, there you
like,
go. Hint, hint.
No.
So
yeah, but they're just like, no. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, so
well, card could be full too, right? That's the other thing. Like, I think because his opponent come out, or what happened? Like, how wasn't it that he was supposed to fight?
Yeah, he was scheduled to fight Nicholas Mota.
That's right.
I think he's hurt. Yeah. So I understand. Happy to do it. Happy to have the opportunity. It's a massive card, great opportunity. And then I had to check with the guys to be like, what does it look like? Because Stephen Graham fights the very next week.
That's right.
So it's like, you know, like we're gonna have to, like, what does this look like? Like, is this doable? What days would you want to come out? Could you do it? Can you guys take work off again? Like, you know, so they were all able to do it. My wife was very supportive of it. She understands the opportunity and the work that needs to be done. And so once I understood that it was doable logistically, I knew for sure I would take the fight before I even looked the opponent up. But you know, it all is going to work out because every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. I say that every day. I expect adversity and I expect to overcome adversity. I say that every day. I teach my fighters and my members because fighting mirrors life. Like, it's not, is adversity going to come? Like, adversity is coming. That is the backdrop of life. That is the whole thing. That's my whole thing with the desert child. And the desert is our symbol of adversity, and that we will get through it. We're desert children. We live in adversity. This is what we do. So like when this happened, when every little thing with the weight cut happened, and then the fight didn't happen, and then it got rebooked, totally different opponent. Like, to me, this is like food. Like, at this point, it's like, I love it. Give me more. Like, the more adversity I get to overcome, the more meaningful this journey will be for me. And the more I'm going to get out of it. So every adversity carries it with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. So I don't have to cut weight. I'm going to the beach, and when you don't cut weight, your endurance is way higher. So now now I get to fight. I get more money because I got paid for the last one. I get paid for this one. So I get more money. I get to fight on a better card. I get to go to the beach, which I'm in Kansas City. It's still freaking winter here. So that's awesome. I'm going to have high endurance. Your chin holds up a lot better when you're not dehydrated. Like, there's a lot of advantages to this situation. I just had to go to that one to get this one. And, but honestly, it's a better situation for me. I think it's a less dangerous opponent. I think I'll get more credit for beating this opponent. I think the UFC will be very happy with me for turning around and doing it on a week's notice and then beating the kid. So it's all looking up for me, you know?
Certainly is. And we get to do another interview, which is great. Trey, I really appreciate it, man. It's UFC 287 a week tomorrow. A week, sorry, I get my days mixed up here. It's only Wednesday here, but it's coming up here April 8th, UFC 287. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, sponsors, social media, you name it, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, check me out, marathon_MMA on Instagram. Then our marathon MMA _academy is the gym page. Native Hemp Co. Check out the Samurai Ghost gummies. Everyone that gets those gummies loves them. They ship to all 50 states. Nothing but 5-star reviews. They're amazing. And then shout out to Marathon Mixed Martial Arts. We're the best team in the world. We are the Wolves, and we are coming.